And joining us this morning is a man that is the founder and director of the Trends Research Institute. He has been following and watching and making predictions for trends for the last 30 years, and accurately so before they've even happened. Gerald Celente is the founder again, and you've got 8 predictions for 2013, Gerald. I want to know financially, what is your prediction for the middle class? How are we going to do?
Well, Corey, it doesn't look real good. It's more of the same but worse, unfortunately. The only thing that's keeping this economy going are the low interest rates.
Yeah.
And I just got a loan, for example, to buy a commercial building at 3.2%. They covered closing costs, and it was good for 20 years before being readjusted. So it's that kind of money they're dumping into the system. They're really not creating the kind of jobs that are going to push the middle class up much.
And everybody knows there's a payoff at the end of this, and it's hyperinflation.
It's hyperinflation or devaluation of the currency. The end result is the same. You pay more for what you're buying.
For everything.
Yeah.
Yep, and that's why you saw gold, by the way. You go back to gold's up from $250 an ounce back in the early 2000s to over $1,700 as we speak.
Gerald, let me ask you something, because I saw a video that you did. In fact, we had you on a couple of years ago, and you were forecasting some horrible things. People fighting for food, killing each other for food, that kind of stuff in this country like we're seeing in Greece and other places. You still see that?
Well, what's stopping that from happening is the food stamp program. I mean, think about it without it. You have some 57 million people on food stamps. So that's what's keeping this from blowing up.
Yeah.
And without that, it would look like the Great Depression.
Mostly kids.
Yeah. Well, people of all ages now. Then you have the millennial generations getting out of college. What are they average about $30,000 worth of debt, holding university degrees in worthlessness, and 50% of them have jobs that are paying high school wages.
Mm.
Now, what about from the standpoint, and again, we're looking for 8 predictions for 2013. I don't know if we'll have time to get them all in, but one of the things we're concerned about is conflicts, particularly with the Middle East and what's happening there. China, there's so many fronts that we have now. What do you see happening in 2013?
Here's our parallel. The crash of 1929, the Great Depression, currency wars, trade wars, World War. The panic of '08. You have a Great Depression going on in a lot of places around the world. You were mentioning what's going on in Spain, Greece, Portugal, Italy.
Yeah.
And then you have currency wars going on. You listen to the new Prime Minister of Japan, Abe. There's a currency war going on. They're devaluing the currency. First thing he did was have the Bank of Japan print more money. There's a currency war going on in the United States. The only reason we're exporting at the levels we are again, because of low interest rates and devaluing the currency. You listen to the Prime Minister of the Finance Minister of Brazil, Manteiga, a currency war. The outgoing head of the Bank of England, Mervyn King, there's a currency war. Trade wars are heating up, and the next thing is world war. I mean, it's when all things. When they can't print any more money or do anything else, they take us to war. You're seeing what's going on right now with France. All of a sudden, Mali becomes a big issue in France as they're going into a severe recession. It gets the people's minds off these things. We got to watch out these Malian terrorists. Before you know it, they're going to be in San Francisco.
Yeah, that you make a very good point. I mean, there's the old story, Wag the Dog. The movie that came out was basically about that, trying to get people's minds off one thing and onto another. One other real quick thing, too, and that is you feel that bonds might be the next big bubble, the next thing to really bring the economy down. What do you mean by that?
Well, one of our contributors to our magazine, the TrendsJournal, is Dr. Paul Craig Roberts, who's the former Assistant Treasury Secretary under Ronald Reagan. And what he's saying is that interest rates are going to have to go up sometime. And when they go up and things start changing, he believes there's going to be a bond explosion that's going to be worse than the credit crisis, the housing crisis, and the real estate crisis, and it's going to be double the financial crisis and the real estate crisis. So that's what he's saying, and it's all detailed in the TrendsJournal.
Well, fascinating. Wow. The TrendsJournal, you can read all 8 predictions for 2013 and Gerald Celente's work at TrendsJournal.com. Thank you, Gerald.
Thank you, Gerald.
Thank you, Corey.
But I certainly hope a couple of those don't come true.